Welcome to 5 Minutes for Good, a place for leading voices to share initiatives that go beyond the commercial. In this second series, we're focusing on travel in Asia. We'll hear the flip side and discover what the travel industry is doing for good in that region. Following a short intro, guests will be given their 5 minutes for good, firing up the engines, inspiring action, and making us think that was 5 minutes well spent.
5
minutes for good. Welcome, Nick Pulley, to your 5 minutes for good. Thank you for joining this series of the podcast where this time we're focusing on travel in Asia. But before we get to your 5 minutes for good, tell those who don't know you a little about yourself.
Well, thank you very much, Phil. Lovely to meet you. Yes, my name's Nick Pulley. I'm the founder and CEO of Selective Asia. We're based in Brighton on the south coast of the UK. I've been working in and around travel for the past 30 years. And 20 years ago, I started my second travel business, which is Selective Asia. And I've been pouring my heart and soul into all things Asia travel ever since. At Selective Asia, we create bespoke journeys through Asia. We sort of from India at our westernmost point to Japan at the easternmost point, and we specialise in curating travel that really sort of lifts the lid on the places we visit, and we help our culturally curious clients meet the people in the communities and explore the environment that makes travel in the region so special. We're a B Corp, something we're very proud of. And I sit on the board of Travel by B Corp, which is a collective of B Corp travel businesses that have come together. We've come together to sort of collaborate and collectively influence meaningful change across the industry.
Fabulous. We are joining Travel for B Corp.
Wonderful. Well, can't wait to have you on board. It's a wonderful, wonderful collective of companies. It's speaking honestly, it's the best part of being a B Corp.
That's some endorsement, that is. I'll very much look forward to that. So, Nick, this is your 5 minutes for good. Over to you.
Excellent. Well, so for my 5 minutes, I wanted to talk about the work that we've been doing at Selective Asia to prevent or at least reduce any contribution to over-tourism. So over-tourism, of course, is a subject that's been gaining increasing notoriety of late. However, it's certainly not something that's sort of only just come onto our radar. We've been actively developing and deploying ways to reduce over-tourism for a number of years and in a number of different ways. I think, first of all, when talking about over-tourism, it's really important to understand it and sort of just highlight the point that just because somewhere's busy or crowded, that doesn't make it over-touristed. You have to consider whether tourism is presenting unmanageable strain on resources such as housing stock, local infrastructure, such as public transport, or exceeds demand for the amount of for hotel or rental stock. It's known as carrying capacity, which is a measure of the maximum number of visitors that a destination can accommodate without causing harm to its physical, economic, social, cultural environment or compromising the quality of the experience for the visitor as well. And likewise, just because parts of Hanoi or Brighton are technically over-touristed, it doesn't mean that the entire city is. It's a complex situation. I think it seemingly is often misunderstood, and it needs careful consideration and very careful communication. It's also important to recognise the importance of tourism, the value of it to economies around the world. The Spanish that took to the streets in protest last year are well aware of this. They, as I understand it, were not pushing back on tourism. They were pushing back on the scale of it, the lack of investment to properly manage its impact, as well as the lack of consideration and care being given to the local people that call these very popular destinations home, which I think we can all agree is pretty fair. Figures vary, but tourism it accounts for approximately 10% of employment around the world. And this is something to be cherished and valued, not cast aside. It does, however, urgently need to be handled better by governments, travel businesses such as Selective Asia, but also by the individual traveller. It's a shared responsibility, and I think that's a really important part of the message. But with all of that sort of said, what are Selective Asia doing to reduce our impact? Well, in simple terms, we sort of live by our mantra, which is unfollow the herd. And we do this by pulling on a variety of levers. We actively steer clients away from hotspots, especially at busy times of the day. We design programs with alternative highlights or take different approaches to the most popular ones, because you're never going to talk people out of the most popular ones. You just need to find ways to do it better. So, for example, we consider different vantage points. One case being, marveling at Bangkok's Grand Palace from a rooftop terrace whilst enjoying a plate of pad thai, as opposed to, nose to nose in a queue, traipsing through the palace. Another example, we don't take clients to Halong Bay, which can resemble a car park at times, frankly. And instead, we visit further flung bays where there's a lot less congestion and pollution. And there are a lot of places that we simply won't take people at all. We encourage clients to travel out of season or just on the outer margins of season. It's often known as green season. This helps better spread the demand and reduces the impact on the infrastructure, but it also helps create better employment conditions for local people who are otherwise offered only seasonal employment. We ensure that conservation projects that we recommend are exactly that they're conservation focused, not tourist attractions. Again, the benefit of a more even spread of visitors across the year is huge. We recommend local dining options over tourist restaurants. This usually means that the traveller gets away from the main tourist trail and into lesser visited neighbourhoods. And of course, it means that local people are getting a fairer share of the income. We educate our clients on their impact, both good and bad, and they will sort of compare one place to another and give them clarity on that as well. And the education piece is obviously really, really important. And I think the point to make here is that in isolation, each of these can sort of appear quite small and inconsequential, but it's not. And in fact, each of these moves the dial. Each of these actions moves the dial just a little bit. And collectively, they move the dial a lot. And they not only reduce the impact that the traveller is having, they not only reduce over-tourism, but they also enhance the experience for the visitor, for the traveller. So it's a win-win. I also wanted to just touch briefly on something that we're doing at Travel by B Corp, which I think is really important. Along with a number of other members, we're creating a playbook to help all travel businesses better understand over-tourism and also to market more responsibly around it. I mean, how many times do you see the same imagery being used to market a destination, knowing that it's the place or a time of year that suffers most from over-tourism? So Kyoto is an obvious example, and Sakura, which is cherry blossom. Marketing this way increases the unmanageable demand for Kyoto itself, as well as really sort of funnels in the demand for travel in Japan during the spring. And as responsible travel businesses, we need to be guiding our clients to Japan's many, many other highlights. You can't wait for you to join for Yuan Kimasabi, but collaboration is the way forward. Individual companies aren't going to make the change that's necessary. We need to work together, and Travel by Beagle is a great example of that.
The playbook is a really, really interesting one, because when we go to conferences like with ITT or APTA or the smaller ones that happen in the UK, it's talked about, but there is no playbook. So there is no central point where people come to, or it feels as though there isn't. I might be being quite flippant here, but having that playbook, I think, is key, because what that rule book is, even if it's not perfect, and I think that's a fabulous.
Yeah, and I think a lot of companies are doing what we're going to be putting in front. A lot of companies are sort of doing it already, or doing partly just by default, but actually helping prove the business case around it, which is you can't afford not to address the matter of over-tourism, because ultimately we're all eating ourselves from the inside. We're killing our destinations collectively as an industry and as a collection of travellers. So we have to address it if we're going to retain the quality of travel experience that we all want to enjoy or provide. So yeah, it's just a needs must situation. But I think having some clarity around it, having some clearer definitions, sort of untangling it a little bit as well, is really important.
Yeah, it really is. You're dead right. Fascinating. Well, Nick, that was a fabulous 5 minutes. Thank you. I often say this to people. It's like, in many respects, it would be great if it was 10 minutes, but it's not. It's 5 minutes. It means we have to focus our minds and sort of.
It does. Yeah, it's enjoyable.
It's enjoyable. It's enjoyable. So I thank you profusely for that. But before we close, it's time to drop your guard and go a little off-piste. And this is where I ask you, if there was one thing you could do for 5 minutes that isn't necessarily for good, what might that be?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, this, isn't it? There are so many things. I mean, what would I do with 5 minutes? I'd be up a mountain, in truth. I love it up there. I just take it in. So it's a rather selfish one. It's for me, but I love trekking and climbing through mountain environments. I love meeting the small communities that you come across along the way. I think there is some good in there as well. There's the sharing of ideas, and there's taking the visitors to sort of far-flung places. So yeah, it's going to be high. It's going to be snow covered, I hope. And I'm probably going to be wearing some sort of very oversized clothing. But yeah, that's my 5.
Well, you're really into the pain then, aren't you? I mean, that's not exactly leisure walking, is it? That's wonderful. Nick Pulley, thank you. That was 5 minutes well spent.
That was 5 minutes well spent.